staff, record label, and as a motherfucking crew. And if you want to be down with Bad Boy, then fuck you too. Chino XL, fuck you too.
Welcome to Window Dressing. I'm Madeline Jane Albol. This week, I bring you a short bonus episode about the recently released Diddy Doc, The Reckoning. It comes courtesy of executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and it is a once-in-a-lifetime piece of cultural commentary. I have written extensively about Diddy in relation to Aubrey O and the MTV reality show Making the Band. Those episodes are part of the Sirens and Gossip Rag Goddesses of the New Millennium season that came out last year, pre-Diddy trial. This new Netflix doc features Aubrey O heavily, along with many other people that we haven't heard from in the numerous docs and reports on the charges against Sean Combs that have come before. The verdict was read the day after my birthday this year, on July 2nd. I remember feeling like I had been physically struck when I heard his sentence of 50 months. I really thought we were going to hold him to account. It turned out to be just another Johnny Depp-style disaster, complete with PR machine and the easily harnessed hatred of women. An example of the pervasiveness of this hatred is the female jurors questioning the validity of Capricorn Clark's kidnapping because she was crying on the stand. Honestly, these last 5 months of sitting with the verdict, realizing that nobody cares, thinking about what Cassie Ventura must be feeling, has been a weight on me personally. In 2011, my first serious boyfriend, and I use that term loosely, was sentenced to 50 years in prison for sex trafficking of minors. I met Daquan Sawyer in the year 2000. I was 16. I was a runaway who lived in Chicago. My girlfriend at the time's mother took me in, and I shared a room in a tiny apartment with her and her brother's girlfriend on the northwest side of Chicago. I left my own home when I was 14. Those first 2 years were the roughest, much of which is a blur to me now. I'm not going to go into the details of everything I experienced, but suffice it to say it continues to affect me. I left Daquan and Chicago the day after Valentine's Day in 2002 or 2003. I'm really unsure of the year. The catalyst was Daquan showing up at my apartment and nearly beating me to death. A neighbor called the police. I didn't press charges. I didn't go to the hospital. At that time, you had to choose to press charges in domestic violence incidences. I will always feel guilty and ashamed for not doing something. I had more power than many of his victims, and I just ran. Of course, I was barely 18 by then and scared for my life. I left that night with whatever I could pack into my car and came to California. It's one of the reasons I feel so invested in California as a place and an ideal. It was my literal freedom. I didn't even know Daquan was being tried in 2011 because I was raped at gunpoint on December 26th of 2010. So while I was going through the disappointing legal system in San Francisco in 2011, he was being tried for sex trafficking of minors in Chicago. I left California for New York shortly after. I'm happy to say that it may have taken a long time, but I was finally able to come back home to California, where I live now. I found out about Daquan's prosecution in 2017. I looked him up and I read the transcripts. I heard the girls talking about the beatings, the brandings, and the manipulations. My first feeling was one of vindication, that this thing had actually happened to me. My second was guilt. Now I feel sort of a dull ache. Anger is there too, but it's more at the willful ignorance of everyone in my life then and for years to follow. No one cared. No one. And to be honest, that was doubly true when I was raped years later at gunpoint at the age of 25. I recently dated someone who took it upon himself to talk in a dismissive, joking, and very public way about my experiences with Daquan. He used the term bottom bitch in the way arrogant white men use language that they can't possibly understand the implications of. He also suggested that the way I discuss my rape is adding to its impact on me, as if the recognition of trauma is the problem, not his discomfort with the realities of women's experiences and their pain. This is someone who also willfully dismissed my view on his abusive tendencies and those of the company he keeps. If I can't recognize the patterns of abuse and manipulation with my history, no one can. My point is the pattern of these kinds of men, Diddy and Daquan, is not different than these faux nice guys. It's the same behavioral pattern, and all women are affected and all women are in danger. I haven't spoken very much about Cassie Ventura because she has spoken for herself. But the way she's been slammed in the press and made out to be a willing participant undercuts everything we know about the dynamics of abuse. I want to get into it because of my own feelings of guilt for staying in abusive situations that I felt trapped in, because that is the nature of coercive control. When men, and sometimes even women, ask women why they stay, the answer is so obvious, but also so endemic to gender dynamics and culture as a whole that I can see how it can be missed by those who are unthinking and unfeeling. Women are groomed from birth to serve men. We are taught that being chosen is the ultimate goal. And to be truthful, the fact that men still hold most of the power societally supports this grooming. It is, in fact, true that in order to be successful, we have had to play by men's rules, either succeeding through copying the same power dynamics or by serving the dynamics by serving men themselves. We cannot ignore or underestimate the environment we live in. It's the same for all of us, just to different degrees depending on socioeconomic status and racial background. The more undervalued you are societally, the more extreme the sexism you deal with is. This is why I described being a white girl as a privilege, because to deny that is to deny the reality for women of color. And it's that denial of the truth that keeps us from accepting the reality of what is right in front of us. Anyone who thinks, as the female juror featured on the doc thinks, that the things Diddy was accused of are too outrageous to be true, has not set foot in the real world and would likely not survive in it. She has swallowed the red pill, and she did it likely without even knowing. That doesn't mean we don't hold her to account. We have to. We have to call all of this out over and over and over again until we have no more voice left. That is what Cassie Ventura did. She spoke and spoke and spoke. And she is the one we should be teaching our girls and our boys to look up to. She didn't let his shame become hers. She fought to tell the truth regardless of the personal consequences. I can't tell you how personally grateful I am to her. Anyone out there saying she was a willing participant in her own abuse and degradation has a lifelong enemy in me. Aubrey O has also consistently spoken up despite public backlash. She is the kind of woman we need to be holding up as the ideal. We have to talk about what men do to us behind closed doors. From the seemingly small but insidious acts of humiliation to the normalization of exploiting women in porn or nightlife entertainment to the acts of physical violence, rape, and gaslighting. Be like Cassie, be like Aubrey, and if you're a man, be like Kirk Burroughs and Curtis Jackson. Tell the truth. Thank you to everyone involved in ushering in this reckoning. Let's all hope that Sean Combs is charged in connection with Tupac's murder, and we can lay to rest 30 years of a culture that has allowed talentless hacks to exploit and profit off of those with real light and healthy souls. Thank you for listening to Window Dressing Podcast. I'm Madeline Jane Opel.